Welcome to 3 and Out with Jason and Kevin. I'm Jason. That's Kevin. We are brought to you by CincyJungle.com, SB Nation Cincinnati Bengals website. Sponsored by Eastgate Smiles Dental Care. We are on the Orange and Black Insider, both on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts, whether it be Apple or whatever the other ones are. I don't know. There's hundreds of them. So subscribe, like. Again, Orange and Black Insider. Subscribe, like, whatever you got to do. Hit the like button. There's us. There's a lot of great show. There's OBI. There's Chalk Talk. There's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. A lot of great stuff. Check it all out. It's Thursday after week one. We have to talk about it. We're not going to spend the whole time around it. Obviously, we have to talk about week two. And I think that we've kind of beat the dead horse badly. It's dead again. It was a zombie horse.
That's the way that very common expression is said. We have beat the dead horse badly.
Yeah, yes. It's very much. It's beyond dead. It's pulp now. It's a liquid. All right, Kevin. The Cleveland Browns embarrassed the Cincinnati Bengals in week one in Cleveland, 24-3. You know, watching it was terrible. It looked like a preseason game, a bad preseason game for the offense. Defense looked good. Defense did look good. But when the offense goes on 7 straight 3-and-outs, defense gets worn down. There really is no defense in the NFL that can handle being on the field
just
that
the
long,
whole game
just
almost.
over and over and over and over again. The Cleveland Browns had the ball 10 more minutes than the Bengals did, which is a lot. That's a lot in football.
Yeah.
And they got worn down, but I liked what I saw from the defense. There's even a few things on offense that I liked that I saw. But Kevin,
Mixon and the O-line was okay, depending on who you talk to.
Yep. But also, I mean, they didn't play in the first. It was better than the offensive line was in week one last year.
Absolutely,
for sure. So, all right, share your thoughts.
You've got most of them. I did want to apologize to the audience because when we made our podcast in the off season, I did not realize it would be a prophecy that 3-and-out, talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, would become basically the entire first game of the season. I feel like it was a jinx. We just thought it was a catchy name. I do want to apologize. Beyond that, I still don't respect the Browns. They could win the Super Bowl for the next 10 years. They're an awful, awful franchise worthy of nothing but derision. The Browns, the city, all of it.
Okay. I want to go back to what you said about naming the show. Do you know what we can call that?
The 3-and-out effect.
It strikes again.
And if we're gonna claim the good ones, we got to take the bad ones too, right?
That's true. Yeah, you can't take all the good ones and not the bad ones. So let's talk about defense first. I think that is a good place to start because that's where most of the good things that happened. I want to say Trey Hendrickson had a really good game. He was in the backfield a lot. He had a sack, but he was constantly in the backfield. He was getting around the edge quickly. Now, PFF said that he had bad run defense scores, but that's kind of Trey. That's who Trey Hendrickson is. He's a pass rusher. He's a pass rushing defensive end. Yes, he's there. You're okay with him whiffing on some tackles when it comes to the run game if he can do what he does in the pass game. That's what he's there for. So they held Nick Chubb pretty well. He's Nick Chubb. He's going to get his. But they did a pretty decent job. Man. Oh, I know. They did a pretty decent job for a while, and then they just back on the field. And you just get worn down. I mean, the Cleveland offensive line is good. Okay.
Very.
Nick Chubb is he the best running back in the NFL? Is he top three? Top three for sure.
In my opinion, he's the best pure running back in the NFL.
Yeah. So, they got him. He got going eventually because that's what's bound to happen. Neither team could move the ball through the air very well. It was raining so bad. Zach Taylor, Bengals coach Zach Taylor, said it was the worst rain game he's seen in like 10 years coaching in the NFL.
Which was weird because if you saw Burrow's press conference, he said it wasn't that hard of raining. It was misting. And he made the argument that misting is worse because it kind of sticks to the ball as opposed to being a constant stream. That was Burrow's argument. I don't know anything about this, but it's just weird that they both, I guess, experience the rain differently. That's it.
Yeah. So what I do know is this. We're going to stick with the defense first again. So I was happy with what I saw in the secondary for the most part.
Yeah. Nick Scott looked good. Dax Hill looked good.
Dax Hill got his first interception of his young career on the same day that his predecessor in Atlanta got 2 interceptions, which was good for Jesse Bates. Good for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dax Hill got an interception. The pass rush was alive. They did pretty well. The defensive backs did pretty well. Linebackers did pretty well. The defense overall played well until they got worn down, and they just couldn't be asked to stop a top 3 running back over and over and over again with no breaks, no rest. You know what I mean? Just the offense has to do their part. So switching to the offense, nothing worked. But basically, Joe Burrow kind of fell on the sword for this one. And after going back and watching it again, rightfully so, Joe Burrow had a really bad game, which is not something we're accustomed to. We're just not used to seeing that. He had 4 interceptions in week 1 last year, or was that week 2? Either way, he had 4. No, it was week 1, I think.
It was.
He had 4 interceptions, but they almost came back and won that game. This game was lost from the word go.
Yeah. It just took a while for us to realize it. But yeah. The comforting thing, and I think we'll get into this with the Ravens thing, is I believe wholeheartedly that is the worst football game we will ever see out of Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah, I totally agree.
I mean, and I know that's like true of maybe a lot of quarterbacks, but my point is this is never going to happen again.
No, this was historically bad. I mean, 14 of 31 for 82 yards. That's it. QBR 52.2.
I was surprised it was that high when I saw it.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson didn't play much better.
No, but we don't.
Yeah, his QBR was actually lower. Better. No, but it was painfully obvious that Joe Burrow had a hard time holding on to the ball for a couple of reasons. 1, it was wet, and 2, I think he may have hurt his thumb at some point in the game. He was flexing his thumb. There's a lot of talk about it. No one's ever confirmed it. I mean, I just don't know.
He was asked in the press conference. He said he did not. I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I saw the same motions. I saw the glove come on, go off.
Right.
But he said he didn't. I also don't think Burrow would tell you. So
yeah, I don't think so either. But he couldn't hold on to the ball. He couldn't get any really clean releases with the ball, just good throws. The offensive line did okay. They did better for the first game this year without playing in the preseason than they did last year. Burrow only got sacked twice. One of them was credited to an offensive lineman. The other one, I think, was Travion Williams. Myles Garrett is a future Hall of Famer. And they did a good job of moving him around. We talked last week that we were expecting Myles Garrett versus Orlando Brown Jr. all day long.
We didn't really get it.
Yeah, there was some of that, but Orlando Brown Jr. held up, but then Myles Garrett went over center and just, I don't know if the Bengals weren't prepared for that. I just don't know. He went to the right side. He was lined up all over the place. He was moving around like crazy, and it was super, super effective. Super effective. But even when Burrow had time, he kind of looked panicky. Or he bailed.
Yeah.
Even when he bailed, when he got out of the pocket, he wasn't looking downfield. He was just trying to look to dink and dunk. It just didn't look like Burrow. It looked like a rookie. It looked like a bad rookie.
I think it's just this is what Burrow is, and we need to accept it. He needs snaps. He needs time to get back into rhythm.
Yep.
It feels like he's the type of player that wouldn't be true of.
Right.
You know what I mean? As Cincinnati fans, we want to say, no, he's perfect. Joe Burrow's perfect. Everything about him. He has the fastest processor. He has the most natural feel for the game, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, at this point, we can't deny it. He needs time to get that rhythm. Right. He needs time to get back into the game. And so far, it's been in the regular season. So, it is what it is. I fully expect them to bounce back. That game sucked, and Burrow sucked. And
he did.
It was really, really, really hard to watch.
Yep. Now, what didn't suck was Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon played really
Joe
well.
Mixon looked good.
Joe Mixon, as a runner, looked younger than he did last year. He was hitting the holes hard. He was breaking tackles.
Jason,
he looked
listen,
really
say that
good.
again. Joe Mixon was breaking tackles. I'm not trying to
I know.
I'm being honest. I know, giving him.
That's not something he did last year.
That is not something he did last year. It was. I can't think of any, but I'm sure he had to have broke some tackles last year. But you know what I mean. He looked great, my dude.
He did.
He looked really, really good. He looked like his contract is suddenly a bargain.
Yeah, and it was but what was frustrating about that is the Zach Taylor and Brian Callahan making the decision that what's working is the run game and Joe Mixon, and what's not working is the passing game and Joe Burrow. But we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And I get eventually that you get to the point where you can't really run the ball anymore because the clock's not your friend and you're down by a lot and you have to start throwing, which is usually, good for the Bengals because that's what their strength is. But in the beginning of the game, it was pretty obvious that Joe Mixon was ready to go. The holes were opening. He was hitting them hard. Just give him the ball.
Here's my theory on that. Here's my theory on this. It's pretty cut and dry. It's very basic. Zach Taylor was coaching for the fans. He wasn't coaching for the team or for the win. Zach Taylor I actually am a big Zach Taylor supporter, but he has been giving shit in the past for taking the ball out of Burrow's hands in game-winning situations. It's happened multiple times, and he stopped doing it. I think he made the wrong choice the opposite way because he made the wrong choice so many times before. He would take the ball out of Burrow's hands. They would lose the game. This happened a few different times before he finally broke himself of that habit of coaching scared. And this time he kept just doubling down on it. No, Burrow's going to win this for us. Burrow's going to win this for us. And do you know what? I'm not overly mad about it. He should feel that way, but he should also be aware of the way the game's going and the way Mixon's playing and everything else. But if he is leaning too hard into Joe Burrow can save this game, that's going to be a good instinct 9 times out of 10. You know what I mean? I wish this time he didn't have that instinct. I wish he'd given the ball to Mixon. But I'm not mad about it. I get it. I get where your head was at. Because I think even watching at home till the very, very end, probably about the fourth quarter, I kept thinking he's going to get it together, man. He's going to get it together. We know this about Burrow. When the heat's on, he's going to make the throw. And it never did.
Yeah, but it just didn't happen. They eventually pulled him. I think that there were some people who had this conception of oh my gosh, Burrow got benched. No, he didn't get benched. He got pulled in a game that didn't matter. Yeah, there's no reason to risk injury. There's no question about who's going to start week 2. There was never a question at all. So, all right. I don't really think there's much to say anymore about the Cleveland game. I think this is a one-off. I think by the end of the season, we'll kind of forget about how the season began. The same thing happened last year. They went 0-2, and then they, I think they were 5-4 and went on a 10-game tear. That can't be right because that's 19 games.
No, yeah, they played 19 games. They're
the only team.
Yeah, they're the only team. They played 19 games.
Yeah,
no, they went to the XFL for those 2 games.
That's right. That
was weird. They said they wanted the reps. I mean, good for them.
Whatever, man. Or 4-3 and then 1-10, something like that. I don't know. So yeah, I'm expecting the same. I'm expecting to see a better team Sunday. So all right, we'll go to commercial break. We'll come back. We're going to talk about the Ravens game.
Eastgate Smiles Dental Care is a warm and welcoming environment where expertise and customer service come together. As a local business, they love helping their fellow Cincinnatians manage their oral health and achieve a perfect smile. They pair the latest technology with years of experience to give you a smile worth showing off. They are dedicated to quality and convenience and can even perform dental crown procedures the same day in most cases. You like your smile, but they are here to help you love it. They personalize your care and match your needs. Call them today at 513-528-1150 to learn what they can do for your pearly whites.
All right, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the Cincinnati Bengals play host to the Baltimore Ravens for the first game at Paycor Stadium. of the 2023 season. It's the Bengals home opener. They are 0-1. The Ravens are 1-0, having beat the Texans 25-9 in Week 1 at home. This is a big game, and I know it's not. I can't sit here. Every game in the NFL is a must-win because it's 17.
Yeah, but division
17
games, and especially with a bad
division games, right? But if they lose this game, is the season over? No. So in the sense that it's a must-win, that they'll miss the playoffs if they lose, no, that's not the case. But they started 0-2 last year, and that cost them the number 1 overall seed. They don't want to start 0-2 in 2023 because this is the last year probably of Reeder.
Yeah,
might be the last year of Higgins. It is the last year of Boyd. I expect
it will not
Higgins
be the last year of Higgins unless we trade him away. Would be the last year of Boyd, though.
Right, and I'm assuming you're thinking about the franchise tag, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, but this is the last season for Awuzie. Probably this is it for a lot of guys. This is the opportunity right here. They know it. They don't want to start 0-2. And especially start 0-2 in the division. So, not a must-win. You won't miss the playoffs if you lose, but you might miss out on number 1 seed, which is a big deal. We've seen it's a big deal. So
it is. But I'm not worried because they're not going to lose.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to the prediction part at the end. But I will say this: I know that you mentioned before the season started when we were doing the whole, we're going to go through the schedule with Anthony Cosenza and we're going to pick every game. At that time, you picked the Bengals to lose this game because you said we're opening on the road against the Browns and they're opening at home against the Texans, one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're going to be able to prepare for us more. However, last week, the Ravens won. That is true. But they lost big time, man. Marlon Humphrey, starting cornerback.
Yes.
He did not practice today with a foot injury. Tyler Lindenbaum, starting center, did not practice with an ankle injury. Ronnie Stanley, starting left tackle, did not practice, knee injury. Marcus Williams, starting free safety, pectoral injury, did not practice. I don't know if any of those guys are going to play. I don't remember. I know that a couple of them are going to be out. You know what I mean? It's not Thursday yet. We'll get much more of a sense. Right now we're recording this on Wednesday. You're watching it on Thursday. But the Ravens got banged up terribly in Week 1 against, and a couple of those guys are going to be out for the year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Dobbins.
So, yeah. So it was bad. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, it was really bad. I don't know which of those guys will be available. As for the Bengals, Cam Sample was on. Did not practice with an ankle thing that we haven't heard about. Everybody's
trending up.
Osai came back. Yep, he came back limited practice. Joe Burrow full practice. So health wise, the Bengals have the advantage. They're both motivated. You know what I mean? But the Bengals came in with "this is our time" and just got embarrassed, and it makes me think. Stop me if you remember this. I think this was in 2016. The Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, or no, this is not 2016. This is like 2018, something like that. 2017. Either way, Kansas City Chiefs in Patrick Mahomes' kind of breakout game just absolutely embarrassed the New England Patriots when they still had Tom Brady, right? And all Bill Belichick would say after it was like 44-14. He just said, "We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati." I knew watching that Patriots Kansas City game. I knew we're in trouble next week because the Patriots are a giant that just got woken up and they're going to stomp all over Cincinnati, and that's exactly what happened. It was like hey, this is not happening again. We're getting it together, and that's exactly what they did. They stomped all over Cincinnati. So I'm hoping that the Browns have awoken this sleeping giant that stomps all over Baltimore. That's what I'm hoping.
The offense only looked bad for one reason, Jason. It looked bad because Joe Burrow looked really, really bad. He looked really, really bad. Now, the entire Ravens game hinges on just this question.
Yep.
Does Joe Burrow play bad again? Is this a trend? Is it going to take a couple weeks to get out of this funk? I'm not saying forever, but it could take a few weeks. Or is Joe Burrow embarrassed? He's upset and he is angry. And he is going to come out and light this team up. I fully believe it is the second one. This Joe Burrow he's embarrassed by his performance, and he should be. But he's the kind of guy who takes that and he turns it into fuel, and he's going to burn down the next team he sees. I believe this. We are going to destroy the Ravens. And that's not good. It makes the game easier that there's all those injuries. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It'll make this a really nice get-right game. I don't think the injuries, one way or the other, would prevent the Bengals from destroying the Ravens in this game. I really, really don't. I know what my prediction said. I am taking it back. Your team like the Bengals does not get beaten that badly by a division rival and not come out swinging for the fences on the next game.
I agree. This is the kind of game that it's a gut check game. It's, hey, you got punched in the gut and you went down. And now you're either going to get up and fight or you're just going to keep staying down. This is a gut check game. The Bengals are better on both sides of the ball than the Ravens.
Yep.
Okay, this is a gut check game. Now, Lamar Jackson is a nightmare to deal with. He absolutely is. All right. But the Bengals have experience with him. I fully expect the Bengals to
we know how to spy a QB. Like, we've done it over and over and over again.
So, you got any matchups that you're looking at?
This is boring. I mean, no, I'm looking at the line. I'm looking at the O-line. I'm going to be looking at the O-line probably one more game after this, depending on how this game goes. Last game doesn't count. It just doesn't count. Yeah. It's one of those. It's the exact same effect of everybody going on about how Jackson Carman looks so good in the Bill Snow game. When conditions get weird enough, whether that's the team you're playing with Myles Garrett and everybody just destroying us, just an incredible pass rush, plus the weather, I was able to make no real conclusions about the O-line. I thought they looked good for the situation, but for the situation isn't what I want. I want to look at the O-line. I want to see how they deal with everything. I want to see how long Burrow has in the pocket. That's what I want.
Okay. So I think there's some interesting things that could happen on defense that I'm kind of excited about. You got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and we've lost our tight end secondary guy,
Yeah.
He's down in Atlanta, I think, right? Trey Flowers is in Atlanta. Either way. But that opens up a lot of doors possibly for Tyson Anderson, maybe for Dax Hill to move around and put Tyson, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited for that. I'm excited to see how they spy Lamar. Are they going to use one of those athletic safeties? To kind of stick back behind, you know what I mean? Play him like a linebacker, like a spy. So I'm excited to see that. I like you. I'm looking at the line. Mostly I'm watching Burrow. I'm watching Burrow and I'm watching Higgins. You know what I mean? I want to see those two guys get on the same page again. I'm excited. I'm excited about this game. I'm not nervous coming out of the Browns game. I'm not like, oh my gosh, hope we don't lose again. I'm excited. I am excited about this because I do agree with you. I think they're going to pull it together.
I also want to see how Irv Smith does.
Yeah,
we got nothing out of him, and that's again not his fault. We got nothing out of anybody. Burrow threw for under 100 yards. Right. You're not going to have much tape on any pass catchers. But I was excited for Irv Smith, not like over the moon, but I thought he has a lot of potential. I thought he could be really good on this team.
Totally.
I still got nothing. I still got nothing to base those opinions on. I want to see it.
Totally agree. I'm excited to see that. I want to see him move downfield and not just be a safety outlet. You know what I mean? Yep. I think they needed him to be that guy in Cleveland, but I'm excited to see him stretch the field a little bit.
We also need to bring up Joe Mixon because I do think that the last game could have been an outlier. I don't think it was the way he was running, but I want to see him do it again.
That's what I was going to say is one of the keys of the game, I think, is run the damn ball. Run it. If Joe Burrow's not 100%, let him lean on the run game a little bit. You know what I mean? Play action does. So let me say this. The Browns did not respect the run game at all. I watched a Joe Goodberry breakdown, okay, where it showed Zadarius Smith, who was supposed to, it's a play action pass. He's supposed to kind of check into the running back before. He didn't do anything. He was coming straight at Burrow. And if it was a handoff, he was just going to miss. And I think that they were coached that way, is don't respect the run. Make them respect the run. Force it.
Yep.
Just jam it down their throats. If they're going to play the pass, run the ball. Let Joe Mixon eat. And if Burrow's healthy, then whatever. But If he's not completely, if he's not ready yet, he doesn't have his timing down, let Joe Mixon run, and then that'll get you set up. You know what I mean? Make them respect the run, and then you can start throwing the ball.
Yep.
That's my thought. That's my key of the game. So, hey, you want to do some predictions again?
Yeah, we can do predictions.
Okay. First score of the game, Kevin. Who's it going to be?
Ja'Marr Chase.
Okay. Ja'Marr Chase. First score of the game.
The new Raven killer, Ja'Marr Chase. Yeah, I'm confident. I actually put $14 of free money on FanDuel.
Ooh,
I had like some fan cash. And I put $14.
FanDuel. FanDuel, if you're listening.
$85.
Yeah.
Hey.
FanDuel.
Hey.
If you're listening, hey.
Oh, actually, really, for the listeners?
Free plug. Go ahead.
No, for the listeners, this really is a good one. Fanatic Sportsbook. Greatest deal ever. If you're looking for New Jersey, go on there. They have a deal, $50. Place $50 on any bet. Once it clears, once the bet's done, you get a $150 voucher for any jersey, and you go directly to the pro shop and use it. You want a jersey for $50 and maybe win a bet. Maybe you make money. Worst case scenario, you have a $150 jersey for $50.
That's right.
Do it. It's great. It's a good deal.
All right. So that's your first score. Who's the MVP of the game?
Let's go Joe Burrow just for the comeback of it, right?
Okay. And what's the final score?
Let's go 31-20.
All right. So last week I went way over the top and said Cam Taylor Britt interception for a pick six. No, it's not doing that. So first score, I'm going to say is going to be Mark Andrews. Okay, so my first touchdown. MVP of the game, I want to say that they listen to us. Joe Mixon. I'm going to go off.
If he does it twice, he might be.
Yep. Final, I'm going to say Bengals 24, Ravens 10.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of injuries, man. They might lose they've lost their starting running back. They might lose their center, might lose their left tackle. I mean, it's a mess. That's bad.
It is. I mean, look, the Ravens, I hope they don't, but they have to do something with that conditioning staff over at the Ravens, right? Like this isn't just bad luck anymore. Like I don't know who's responsible for it, but I've heard a bunch of stuff about the coaching over there, strength conditioning, that whole area. They got to get this fixed. The amount of injuries that team faces is not normal. It absolutely is not. And it's not just bad luck at this point. It is a consistent narrative with that team.
It has been lately. It has been for sure.
But fix it after we win the Super Bowl.
Fix it next year. Fix it in 2042.
There you go.
Yeah, fix it then. All right. So you heard it here. We both think the Bengals are going to have a bounce back game. I think they will. I think they'll be okay. All right. Once again, I'm going to go through my whole spiel. We're on the Orange and Black Insider on YouTube. Anywhere you can get podcasts, hit the like button, follow. It's not just us. It's OBI. It's Chalk Talk. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. There's a lot of great stuff on there. There's content that comes out almost every day. We are brought to you by CincyJungle.com, SB Nation Cincinnati Bengals site. There's great stuff there too. Multiple articles a day. Honestly, I think it's the best Bengals site there is. I really do. And
it was my go-to Bengals site before I became a part of it.
Go.
So there you go.
There you go. And then we are sponsored by Eastgate Smiles Dental Care. Give them a call if your teeth hurt or whatever. All right. Thank you very much again. We'll be back next week. Who dat?
Who dat?
great.